Mic check at the safe zone. Wisdom in arcade tones. You spit the truth, stone stacked on their backbone. Justice at the forefront, change in the rear view. Podcast vibes, live raw, it's what they pursue. Safe talk, voices spark, lighten up the dark. Break the chains, let the pain be the counterpart. Stories that we mix like a DJ's dish. Hopes on high frex, dreams in every pitch. Resource center throne, mind sharper than stones. Cut through the noise, these seeds steadily grown. Born in shadows, but we talking for days. Injustice met its end, watch it crumble away. Hearts heavy, but the mic stays steady. Fighting through the static, ain't nobody ready. Safe zone crew, young revolutionaries. Spitting futures vivid, blowing out canaries. Talk, voices spark, lighten up the dark. Break the chains, let the pain be the counterpart. Stories that we mix like a DJ's dish. Hopes on high frex, dreams in every pitch. Echoes in the halls where the truth bounces off. Hard topics low key, but the impact strong. System hiccups can't block the signal clear. Youth claiming airtime, no more hiding fears.
Welcome to SafeTalk, where we dive deep into the challenges faced by today's youth, a podcast here at SafeZone that we'll be doing. In this first episode, we want to explore the complex and often misunderstood topic of addiction, and addiction among young adults and teens specifically. Right now, I'm sitting with a group of guys here at SafeZone. If you guys want to go around, introduce yourselves by letting us know your name, where you're from, and then maybe a little bit about yourself. We'll start right here.
Hi, my name is Peter. I'm from ATL originally, and I was raised here in Minnesota. I actually really love to dance. Like, it's something that gives me such a high vibrational energy.
Yes.
So I think that's something that I enjoy, love to do. It just fuels my day. And I love orange juice.
Okay, a little OJ. All right.
So my name is Danetta. I'm from Springfield, Ohio, 937. I am an author. I'm a self-published author. I love writing. I love journaling. I love to be outdoors, period. So.
You're a writer. Do you have anything that we can read that you have written?
I do. You can check out my book, 21 Day Affirmation for Self-Love. It's on Amazon, or if you know me in person, you can come check me out and ask me more about it.
That is awesome. Okay.
I am Daymani. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. Fairly new to Safe Zone.
My name is Anna from Chicago, raised in Minnesota. I do music, I do modeling and stuff. I have a new song coming out next Friday, and I got a music video coming up soon.
Okay.
So check that out on my YouTube.
Hey, I need you to not forget about me when you become famous, please.
I'm not. Why would I forget about you?
All right.
My name is Lamont. I'm from Madison, Wisconsin. I'm a former athlete, into political activism, political information. I like to bring perspective into communities, being that I'm from multiple of them myself that might not be exposed to. It's crazy.
Good. And I was going to ask, like, you being into the social justice, what are some of the issues that you're really passionate about?
I think that there's a lot of targeting. I think there is a massive influx of pro-segregation movements on both the Democratic left and the Republican right. It's becoming incredibly pro-segregation. It scares me. And I think there is a rise of race tensions that is not natural.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you're passionate about that. It's not often you find young brothers that are passionate, which kind of brings us to our topic. We'll be talking about addiction and substance abuse among our peers, our young adults and our teens out here. I feel like in this sector that I work in here at SafeZone, as a youth advocate, I've noticed, and I'm also very worried about the population that is dealing with the rise of drugs like fentanyl and, of course, things like methamphetamine. It does seem like now it's targeting our younger community, and we have guys from all the way from the ages of 13 and 14 here that are dealing with substance abuse issues. And I just want to know what you guys understand about this issue. I just want to kind of examine some of the common substances and the abuse among the young people here around you guys, and what you might know or not know about addiction amongst your peers. I kind of want you guys' perspective on it.
What I've seen in my life is like when somebody is going through something, like they lost somebody or they're going through hard times, they most likely they go towards, alcohol or drugs and stuff like that, or they stop doing certain things, and, they push a lot of people away. Like, I know people in my life that have got addicted to alcohol and everything like that because of stuff they were going through in their life.
Like a coping mechanism for
trying
to deal with life,
Yep. I've seen how they push family and friends and how they stop doing their regular daily things in their life and everything like that.
I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone in here knows at least one person that they care about that's dealing with that as a coping mechanism. It's easy to turn to the bottle, or it's easy to turn to drugs to kind of numb your senses from the things that you have to deal with in life, especially when you're dealing with trauma. What do you feel like is the dangerous part of turning to this substance as a coping mechanism?
So, honestly, it can actually bring down your level of vibration. So you attracting good things to you will actually be even harder due to the things that you've put onto your physical vessel. Like, it's very difficult to acquire new things and new energies and new life for yourself if you're doing things to numb the pain and numb the things that you're going through with an addiction, especially since you're at such a young age, because we're right now talking about like the youth population and the teen population doing drug use and stuff like that. It's very difficult to actually think about and talk with your peers and stuff like that, because someone might not be on the addictions that person is doing, but there might be, a similar age range and stuff like that.
Addiction isn't always something that you can establish easily. I was an alcoholic from the ages of 8 to 22. I started drinking at 8. It's inherited. I didn't know this until recently. I drink the same stuff my mom did. It is sometimes you are dealt a horde card in life. And at 8 years old, I had 2 shots and didn't feel anything. And I just kept drinking after that. Whether it be a Red Apple Ale, whether it be Angry Orchard, whether it be some Smirnoff, I just drank. Because I made it to the U.S. selection team for my sport. I was an athlete. And I could still drink and be fine. Did it for over 10 years. It did impact my life. It made my life worse. It made injuries more prevalent. And when I was injured, I just kept drinking more because I wasn't in that sports. Addiction not only can start early, your addiction predilection might not be your fault, but it's your responsibility. I can't drink. Period. And it's not because I was an alcoholic at 8. It's because I was already able to be an alcoholic at 8. My mother was an alcoholic, so I shouldn't drink. So sometimes your addiction and your predilection to having substance abuse is not a fault of your own. It sucks, but that's how life dealt your cards.
You said 8 years old you were drinking. How do you feel as an 8-year-old, if you can go back to your 8-year-old self, how do you feel as an 8-year-old where you almost feel like it's normal for you to drink? Is it your environment?
Yeah. Well, yes and no. I was incredibly observant, being from foster care, and I noticed that the man, to this day I respect the most, responsible drinker. If he had a horrible day at work, he'd have 1 shot and leave it at that. And one day I had a really bad day. So I'm like, he has that every time I know he's mad. So I'll try that. There was no inherently bad thought about it. Normally an 8-year-old would try vodka and run away crying. It just so happened my mom loved vodka.
Do you feel like it was a generational thing that you inherited?
It is generational and cultural. If I wasn't in Wisconsin, I don't think I would have had that thought. Likewise, if my mother wasn't an alcoholic, I wouldn't be able to handle that shot.
I see that connection. Now, we've been talking about alcohol, and personally, I've dealt with alcohol issues, not only myself, but with family members that were really addicted, strong alcoholics. that needed to find something of importance in their life to be able to become sober. It just so happened that my relative found the Lord to be able to overcome addiction. And alcohol is a very, very strong substance to get yourself clean
Put me in
from.
the hospital.
What are some of these other drugs that you guys are noticing that are just going through our community and ravishing our community? And I know one right now that comes to mind instantly when I think about it. I just want you guys' ideas, because one is really, really devastating right now and just became the #1 killer of Americans over car accidents and auto accidents. And I want to know you guys' opinion on some of these new drugs or other drugs that are substances or addictions that people are dealing with that you guys are aware of that are going on in the community.
So yeah, fentanyl is extremely difficult to even acquire because
Yes.
you have to go to a dealer to get it. You can't. It's made out of a lot of dark substances. The way that I've seen the youth around my community use that substance for their own,
Numbing, maybe?
it's just very difficult to actually talk about because my friend was on fentanyl and I had seen him go down the worst path because he could not cope with the things that he'd been through. So he turned to those, really hard, difficult drugs. And so once that happened, it was no longer that person that he once was.
Mm. And that's one of the most heartbreaking things, in my opinion, is to see someone go from that person that you know and recognize and love to somebody that you completely don't recognize and aren't familiar with, just like that, over being addicted to this substance that they can't control. And fentanyl was the one I was going to mention, is kind of taking the community by storm. And there's no real answer as to what we can do about this drug that's tearing the community apart. What other, and even if it is fentanyl, what other things are you noticing?
I have a controversial one.
Heroin and coke.
Heroin and coke, for sure.
Are like the biggest ones, and it's tearing the cities down. Like I see them sitting on the trains, trying to get on the train, and they're falling off and can't even.
And that affects you as in the community because you have to be around it, and do you feel safe around it?
Not really, and then they do it on the train as well. They're
Exactly.
smoking fentanyl on the trains, and it's everybody on the trains inhaling it.
Yeah, so you're subjected to almost get high with them.
Exactly.
Because it's just so prevalent in the community and it's everywhere.
Have anyone heard the saying, bad company corrupts good character?
I've heard that, yep. That's actually a really strong saying too, yeah.
Yeah, so what I was going to say, I had a story on cocaine. This is my first time opening up about this. It was a few years ago. I was hanging out with friends, and I was always wondering, why are they keep going to the restroom? Why are they keep going to the bathroom?
Together.
Yeah, the shots is out here on the table and stuff. They're not inviting me. On one particular trip, my friend, I guess she didn't shut the bathroom door all the way. So I was peeking in there and I saw them with the dollar bill and another dollar bill rolled up doing that. I'm like, damn, she didn't even, why she just felt bad for telling me. I'm not going to judge her or anything, but it's dang, you know what I mean? And so throughout time, I was still hanging out with her because I had a good heart and I'm I'm not going to judge her. That particular led me to do that. Mm-hmm. And so at that time, that's when I started doing it. And I didn't like the way it made me feel because I would turn into a different person. I would get more violent and angry. And my family, they could tell, but they never just said anything. And so they would just pray for me. And I remember one time I was home. I got home from drinking and doing that. And I just prayed to God because I'm this ain't even my life. You know what I mean? Doing coke, and drinking and partying and stuff. This just ain't even me. And so I just prayed He would deliver me from that. And so a few years later, He did. So I'm living a sober life now.
That's beautiful. And, before I even had a chance to ask you how you overcame that, you said your prayers and your prayers were answered, which is beautiful. I feel like not a lot of people have that strength to do that, will themselves out of that addiction, have that belief or that faith in whatever it is that you could believe in, have faith in to help you with that. And so they struggle on their own a lot of times. I was going to ask a follow-up to your story. Yeah. Did you eventually approach your friend about what they were doing? Or when you approached them, was it to participate? Or did you approach them with concern?
I never approached them about that, like what I saw, but I did approach them later to like, I wanted to try it and stuff like that because at that time I was observing them and I'm like, well, they're still alive and functioning and everything, so I can trust, you know, like they're getting it from a good person, whatever. And so that became our form of like our bonding.
Trauma bonding.
Yeah, and later on I found out it was trauma bonding, but I felt like at that time they looked to me as a bougie friend, like she don't really do nothing, she just drink and stuff.
So you did it to kind of fit in and make them know that you're comfortable around them and vice versa.
Yeah.
And that's one of the easiest ways to slip into a pattern of addiction is being influenced by the people that you're around and you want to hang out with and impress. What was your mind like when you were dealing with this at the time? Did you notice patterns of how you were thinking changing? Were you not feeling yourself? Like how was your mental?
I was more paranoid than usual because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I felt like when I was extremely high, I felt like people were judging me. Like people in my family, especially when they're talking to me, I felt like they were staring in my eyes too long and it pissed me off so bad. So I started snapping off and just overreacted to things. It caused my overthinking to go. Oh, it was just mind racing. Yeah, most definitely.
So I think there's a strong connection between mental health and addiction. What's the link between that and substance abuse that you guys can recognize?
I feel like it has to do with the dopamine release.
Explain dopamine release real quick in case there's someone that might not know what that means.
Endorphins and dopamine are the two chemicals in your brain that says you did a good job. They're the chemicals that say good job, good to you, that releases when back in the day when you found berries or something. Now, we being intelligent beings have found drugs that increase your endorphin to dopamine. One of them being methamphetamine. I don't know if you heard this. The love drug Molly is mainly meth. Meth is a massive dopamine. There's psilocybin or shrooms, release massive amount of dopamine. And someone who doesn't like themselves has a hard time being okay with their position in life, whether it is I feel like I should do more as a man because I see a man with a car when he's 16 and I can't afford one. Whether it's, I see this girl who's prettier than me, or I see this girl who has nicer clothes than me, I see this dude has nicer clothes than me. You feel bad. And a good way to make yourself feel nice real quick is that dopamine hit. And a lot of drugs release that in massive quantities. At the same time, there's something called serotonin deficiency. And that is the crash you get from drugs. And it can be terrible, especially if you've done psychedelic, which is you can spend days not having any emotional change because you basically fry the receptors that release your emotional availability. And a lot of people who might be depressed, like chemically depressed, you want to get a way to get dopamine real quick.
Do some drugs.
Yeah. And that can lead to a dependency. That dependency leads to addiction, and that addiction leads to the death of your life.
Just working here at SafeZone and having to deal with a lot of our youth that are trying to deal with their substance abuse and deal with their addiction. I would say mental health is an extremely huge barrier with helping them find the help that they need, because there's that part of the addiction where you're not yourself when you're off the substance, but there's also that mental health aspect where your mind already is at a curve where it's hard for you to get some of the basic help anyway that others may get that aren't dealing with mental health issues. What are some of the barriers or some of the obstacles that someone that might be dealing with mental health issues before becoming addicted to substances that are now dealing with addiction and mental health issues? What are some of the barriers?
Honestly, I think that maybe not reaching out to family, but reaching out to an organization that would actually benefit them to take care of some of the things that they're going through, because at that point, honestly, there's really no family or like type of person that can help you. It's only up to you. You have to take it to the initiative that it's gotten this bad. My mental health is too terrible, and I'm doing an extremely addictive substance that is also having my mental health problems as well. Like, you need to get professional help, seek something that is actually going to bring out the best in you once again. Because, once you fall like that, it's like hard to come out of that type of place, because you also might be dealing with a lot of financial problems as well. And so that can be like a really, really difficult problem when you're in that type of situation, including mental health and, drug use.
Very good. And sometimes it's hard to help someone that's not coherent or agreeing to the things that you are suggesting for them to do to get that help.
Kind of in a similar situation, but I haven't resorted to doing drugs because I knew it would just make my situation worse. It would just attract more dark things into my presence, I feel like a lot of the youth nowadays struggle with financial issues and stuff, and that can also lead to a lot of abuse when it comes to drugs and stuff like that.
I was going to say another thing about that is someone who has mental health issues. I am clinically chemically depressed. I don't feel happiness like you did. I didn't understand the happiness people were talking about until the first time I did Molly and was driving over a hill and saw city lights. First time I genuinely was happy about something humanity did. I was 19. I hated everything we created ever since that point in time. I was just upset because I didn't understand how people could act the way they did. If I wasn't in a large amount of high-level therapy, I don't think I would have noticed that was the drug allowing me to feel that way. I would have been like, oh, I'm trying to be happy now. There are people who don't experience gratitude.
Well, what do you do now to find the happiness now that you're not dealing with the same?
I just accept that some people are happier than others. That's fine.
And does that comfort you?
Yeah,
feeling?
Because I understand it now. What upset me was the distance. I didn't know why people acted the way they did. And it is horrible that was drugs is the way that got me that way. Obviously, there is a more healthy way to go about that. But imagine all the people who don't know that. And they finally, for the first time, get to feel genuinely good. The way you do if you look at a puppy. And that kind of dissonance between what is considered a normal operation of the human brain and what we consider clinically upset or clinically abnormal is, I think, not discussed enough. There are people, when the first time they do these drugs, they get dopamine like you do every day. And it makes them want to go back to it every single day.
So is that not dangerous to think that the only way someone can achieve that happiness is through that substance? And is there a safe way to do that? Or is it always going to be that burden to use that drug in order to achieve that?
I don't think the drug is necessary. My first experience was through that drug. Maybe it was catching a trout for you. And that was the thing that broke the gap for your dopamine release.
Okay, I just do want to say this because at that time when I did, I also was going through something very depressing in my life. I lost my house at that time when I reverted to that at that particular point. And so I was extremely depressed. I'm like, how am I supposed to survive? And it's in the winter time and it was just a lot going on. I just needed something to get me out of that depression. So it was like a quick... I feel like oftentimes, when people revert to drugs, it's just a quick way to get out their depression or whatever they're going through in that season. I had to learn the hard way throughout time, and thank God for willpower and strength. A lot of people revert to drugs because it's a quick fix. It's a temporary temporary happiness. And I don't judge people because I was there at that particular point too. Mm-hmm. So I don't judge people. I don't look down on people because they do this or that, because those tables can easily turn. Exactly. I can be, I'm looking at that person, they're crashing out on the train, but 5 years later, I might be doing that too. You just never...
Or you might have been coming from that.
I
was there once. I can't judge a person because I know how hard it was for me to overcome that.
On my way here, there was a person, you can tell they were under the influence and they had some type of drug in their system. I did not judge them one bit. And it bothers me a lot that people, it's like holier than thou, looking beneath someone, making fun of them, posting them on Facebook, online, or saying, oh, look at that, they're doing drugs. Those tables can easily turn, baby. Yeah. And I know for sure, life humbles me a lot, and life will humble you too. So I just had to say that.
Back to what Peter had said earlier about like You have to want it. Certain drugs nowadays, it's hard for people to stop because certain people, like certain drugs you want, if you stop, it can kill them. It can get you sick. Yeah. So I feel like they should go to, like Peter said earlier, like they should go to professional people to help them, because if they stop on their own, it's hard to stop on your own, because then you start feeling sick and stuff, and then you want the drugs even more. I've seen it and stuff, and it is sad. Like I be seeing it on the train where there be people and stuff, they be doing blues and everything in front of kids, and I be like, that's sad. But at the end of the day, though, like you can only control your actions. You can't control the actions. They have to want it for themselves. You can't do it for nobody else. You got to want it for yourself. If you got kids, you got to do it for your kids and stuff like that, because you don't want your kids thinking that that's normal and stuff. Because I be seeing a lot of people nowadays, they have their kids around that, and their kids like think it's normal, and they kids start doing that. You understand? Like a lot of kids, they look at what we do. Little kids look at what we do, that's and they follow after that. Yeah. And that's why I make sure, like when I'm around little kids, I change up what I do and stuff, because I know at the end of the day, my baby nephew or something like that, even though he's younger, and I feel like he's not gonna understand, and then he gonna understand. He gonna pick that up and think it's normal.
And you'd be surprised how young these guys pick these habits and stuff up from what they observe. I'm hearing a lot about this train and how unsafe it is for everyone else around. Who's experiencing this daily, having to navigate through these trains and the public transportation and stay away from this drug?
Yeah, so I feel like no, because this is getting on my last nerve.
I hear you.
Because you're not gonna sit up there and smoke right up in my face when I'm about to come out.
Okay.
And it's triggering, right?
Yeah, it's very irritating. And on top of that, like if you're gonna sit up there and do drugs, at least do it somewhere you can, filter it out instead of having it sucked up in the train. Mm-hmm. And like, so I'm sitting here like
they're worried about transformation.
Yeah, they're worried about getting that money and stuff like that, and you ain't got time to even be talking to them. To like, oh, this person is doing some fetty right up in my face up on the train and stuff like that. I'm ready to bust his neck right open, because like you can't sit up there and do that stuff in front of me and then expect me to be okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's literally that's an invasion of privacy. Okay? Like you seriously? Like, are you serious right now?
I would personally say that since I've started my job, it is quite traumatizing. Yeah. It's scary a little bit because I have to take the train.
So I kind of wanted to dive into dealing with what might sound cliche, but peer pressure. Because how many of you guys know somebody personally dealing with substance abuse that you have either tried to tell them they need help, or you wish that they would seek help, or you had to just distance yourself from them completely?
Mm-hmm. Well, I can't give a story since like my sobriety journey, and just me like getting closer to God and connecting, reading my Bible, praying every day. My past do creep up. Like people message me, hey, do you want to come out for a drink and stuff? They don't know that I'm on my sobriety journey, because I just cut off all, because I'm locked in on myself, you know what I mean? It's personal development, you know what I mean? And so that is triggering, because it's a reason why I had to distance myself from you, because you're, once again, bad character corrupts good character. Mm-hmm. You just can't be around certain people no more, you know what I mean? It's a recent season.
Like people that are not trying to grow and better themselves.
Yeah. I just couldn't be around that no more. And so I had to find a way to say, like, to not come off like I'm holier or better than you, but just to also validate my feelings and try to validate them. I don't even know if I'm answering your question, but I can relate to it.
No,
sorry.
No, that's exactly what I was asking. It's
okay.
That's you dealing with someone close or people close to you, and having to distance yourself from that is you not falling for that pressure.
I would say like a lot of my friends around me, they vape. I know that's not like, a bad drug, but it is though. But it is because everybody.
And it's a serious one too, because it's in schools and they're dealing with it in the school. They're trying to get the kids in the schools to stop vaping. So that's very
and because it was so crazy, because when I realized that a lot of my friends do it, I don't mind my friends doing it, but it gets to a point where they start getting laced and then they going in and out the hospital every single time. I had one of my friends. She would be in and out the hospital. She'll text me every week being like, I'm in the hospital, mouth bleeding. She bleeding out her nose and stuff. And I'm like, telling her, you really gotta stop because that's something serious. You should not be bleeding out your mouth and everything. You're getting laced. And at the same time, though, too, I used to think that I was like the black sheep in my friend group because everybody around would be doing vapes, and they'll be like, then they'll tell me, they'll be like, no, like, it's actually good that you're not doing vapes because vapes are very addicting, and that's actually a good thing that you don't vape at all. And I used to think that was a bad thing that I didn't vape. So I was like, dang, y'all all doing it. I'm trying to fit in with y'all too.
See, I'm so glad you said that because that's part of the pressure.
Yeah.
That's the scariest part of peer pressure is nowadays people don't even have to hand you the drug and tell you to try it. Like the commercials, hey man, want to get high? That's not always how peer pressure works.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you could be curious.
Curiosity because of a loved one doing it. Also, seeing it happen so often where it's normalized, where you're like...
That's literally what my story was about earlier, if y'all don't remember.
Yes.
Because really knowing me, that's not what I do. That wasn't what I do, but I was just around bad company and I just wanted to fit in. And so I'm noticing, as I'm drinking, I'm noticing, why is everyone disappearing? Why are you running to the bathroom? What is going on in the bathroom? You know what I mean? Like, and why y'all coming back extra happier?
Happy and fun? Like, y'all
and like,
fun.
you know, like, you know what I mean? Just, what y'all doing?
Yeah.
Shit. What y'all doing in that bathroom?
The curiosity will get you. When you guys are noticing your friends might start doing so, what are some signs that they might be leading themselves down the road of addiction? Like, what do you notice about somebody when you start to see it? What changes? Like, what are the signs?
Their skin color.
Their mood.
Color.
They stop coming around.
Yeah,
you know,
they disappeared.
Yeah.
They started vaping. I stand on this. Nicotine is the true gateway drug. Well, help me win this in post. I have friends who are entrepreneurs. I've seen every person when they're more break and they start doing actual drugs, it starts nicotine. Because we've all been raised in the post-smoking era. Cigarettes died with our generation. No one really smokes cigarettes anymore. And I've seen it over and over and over again. The moment someone starts smoking vapes, starts doing, especially cigarettes, it's very easy for them to be, hey, try this cocaine. It sounds stupid.
I mean, it really does because the gateway
of nicotine is that moral breakdown. That moral breakdown starts with nicotine. And I will stand on this. Like I said, I had an alcohol addiction at 8 to 22. Started smoking at 11, still can't quit. It is the most addictive substance I have touched, seen, or witnessed. I've seen people walk away from meth, cold turkey. Seen people walk away from cocaine, cold turkey. I've seen people walk away from drinking. I walk away from drinking cold turkey. Put me in the hospital, but I did it cold turkey. You know what I got in the hospital though? Nicotine patches. Because I needed that. I needed that.
Everybody's path to recovery is going to be different, and it absolutely has to be wanted. Mm-hmm. I've never seen somebody, and this is just me, I've never seen somebody recover from substance abuse addiction without actively wanting to do it themselves.
Right.
Even the guys that I know that had to become clean because they were incarcerated, do you know what they were talking about? Getting out and getting high for the first time. And that's what they couldn't wait to do. Right. Because they weren't ready to be sober, they were forced to be sober. We have to meet you where you're at.
Right.
We can't force these things on anyone. We can't force somebody to want to go to treatment. We can't force them to want to be sober. We have to meet them where they're at. And the saddest part about substance abuse addiction is a lot of guys, we know the help they need. We know how they can get the help. We just can't help them unless they want to be helped.
But I've seen somebody recover off of alcohol they have like a really bad alcohol problem when they get like they can literally drink a whole box of beer, like a 24 pack, in one day, and their whole mood will change to the point where they will spaz out on their family and everything like that. And I seen them like recently, a couple months ago. They've been doing fine. They took baby steps, so they would just do like one drink a day. Then after that, they
just
And so they started taking baby steps to the point where like that person does not drink anymore. That person don't even look at a drink anymore. No alcohol, nothing. That person don't even smoke either. So like it's possible. It's a mindset thing.
That person wanted to do that. That person wanted to do that, and they found a way that was easy for them to do it.
I think it was also a thing though too. Like everybody around that person was like letting that person know like this is how I feel. This is how it's affecting me, and it's affecting you. And that person, they didn't listen. They was hard-headed. But after years and years went by, that person started realizing, like, okay, they health, they physical, they mental, like everything, how they acted and stuff like that. They started realizing how it's out there affecting other people too, and that they love. That they woke up one day and they was like, okay, like, let me really like think about this, and they took those baby steps. Because I feel like just saying that you're going to quit alcohol or quit like doing drugs, that's a person can't just do that, you know, especially if it's like a drug or alcohol that you do every day. You can't just one day be like, oh, I'm gonna stop. You got to take baby steps and be like, okay, I'm gonna just do one drink, or maybe just, you know, do this and stuff like that. And I've seen some people like that. My friend that, you know, was addicted to nicotine. What I did, I don't smoke nicotine, but I like let her know. I'm like, you know, how about you go outside or like do like a fun activity every day. Find something to do to like you not think about that. If you don't do nothing and you sit around stuff, you're gonna be thinking about that and be paranoid and everything.
Well, what are some paths to recovery? Even if that instance sounds like it's going to be hard and it's going to be really challenging for someone in dealing with mental health issues and substance abuse. But for all people dealing with substance abuse, what are some paths to recovery? What can they explore to become sober? Support systems, treatment options. Like, what are some of these things that someone can do?
It helps a lot. When I wanted to not drink no more, it helped me a lot to have someone, my aunt, she was delivered from drinking 30-some years. That's a person that's strong. When I'm feeling tempted to go back drinking, that's a woman I can be easily like vulnerable with and say like, I'm having those thoughts again. I'm having those thoughts, and she will just bring me the reassurance I need. It's best to have someone that in your corner that's where you want to be. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you
like
have
a mentor
someone,
or a sponsor, somebody that you can be guided by.
Yeah, don't sit there. If you're trying to be sober, I wouldn't want to look into someone that's been sober 1 or 2 months, because 9 times out of 10, you guys are in the same boat too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But someone that's 30 years have been sober, that's someone that's strong into it. You know, so have someone.
Challenge yourself. I would say, you know, write down like how you feel every day. I know that this year for me, I've like a lot of shit that I had in my life last year. I've kind of like, I'm different this year. Like, I'm more at peace. I'm not fully healed yet with a lot of things, but it's baby steps though. I feel like my communication and everything that I do now in life, like all the negative people and the being around the wrong crowds, I surround myself this year with people that are trying to go and be at peace and everything like that. And it's so much peaceful and everything. I feel like, you know, I know some people don't believe in God or like that, but even if you don't, like, write a letter to yourself, to your future self, how you want to be in like 5 years, right? Every day, like, oh, this is how I feel. And then in the next like 5 years, you're gonna look back at that and be like, damn, like, I really I manifested that.
Oh, I'm sorry, Anna. I literally did that when I wanted to be delivered from drinking and smoking cigarettes. I keep my journals. I was like, dang, I literally wrote to God, and you know.
Or you can do like your passion. But
I was going to say too, I don't know what's going on in 2025, but it seemed like a lot of people is like letting go of things that no longer serve them. 2025 is a powerful year. I don't know. I think I would pay more attention to that.
Any other thoughts you guys want to express or stories you guys want to share about what we've been talking about? Or just any advice you might have for anybody out there that's struggling and doesn't have the answers and is seeking help right now?
I think the one advice that I would give to take baby steps with, just write like goals down that you want to do. Write small goals. Don't write big goals, because big goals, you gonna like do it for like a couple days and then you're gonna stop and go back to the same thing you was doing. And I had to learn that myself, because I started writing big old goals. I would do it for a couple days and I'm like, that's too much. So I started doing little goals, and this year when I started realizing I'm achieving those little goals, it motivated me even more to keep on going and doing even more things. So I feel like doing that, surround yourself by like good people like this.
That's great advice. Baby steps, one day at a time. But man, this was y'all first podcast. You guys did a beautiful job. I feel like anyone out there listening got some great advice and some great stories about dealing with substance abuse or dealing and living with someone dealing with substance abuse. I want to thank everybody out there that's listening to us today. Thank you for joining SafeTalk here at SafeZone. If you or anyone you know is struggling with addiction, remember that help is available. Together we can foster a healthier future for our youth. If you need to come down to SafeZone or Face to Face, reach out and look us up on Google. Thank you guys again for this discussion, and we will be back.
You want to know what next?
No, clap for yourselves, because that